also get viewer submissions to ask us questions. And so I have a question for you, which is actually perfect since you are an English 11 teacher. And this person says they're looking for ideas for an English 11 culminating project. My kids are small groups, so learning disabilities with some English language learners mixed in, and they are so over testing. So she doesn't want to do like a big test. They need a way to show their knowledge and hard work that excites them. I'm fairly new and I've seen ideas for portfolios, but it feels almost like giving up. I want them. There is some truth to that. I want them to feel excited to create something that shows how hard they have worked. I know that sounds idealistic and newbie-ish, but my kids are pretty cool. So I think if they had the right project, they could get into it.
I think there's like, this is the thing about this is that it has to be started in September. Like, and oftentimes for culminating projects, we like think of it in RP4 and we're like, oh shoot. And then it does seem like you're just like throwing something at the wall and the kids know when you've thrown something at them.
100%.
They're like, what is this? Am I actually being graded on this?
Yeah. They're like, is there a rubric? And you're like, there will be. By the time I grade it, probably I'll have a rubric.
After I grade 3 or 4 of yours, then I'll have a rubric.
Exactly.
When I determine what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that one of the things that I think that really makes sense for this is like, if you think about it in the beginning, if you have them do something, I think from September to June, something that like they care about. So like, let's say it's a school rule and it's like, hey, now this needs a lot of thought, but like, let's say they want to change like the uniform rule or something about school lunch or going out to lunch, any of those things. If they like throughout the course of the year can be like gathering information about this rule that they want to change, the logos, like doing like, gathering like student perception or talking to the administration. If they do that all, of course, like, but they have to implement things that they're learning. Like if they just like learned how to like, do a chart in like Google Docs or whatever, like Excel, like then they have to incorporate that in the culminating project, but they're gathering that data throughout the year. So all throughout the year, they're like, they can still incorporate these skills that you're teaching them, but like the topic is something that really interests them that they want to change at the school. But then not just at the school, there's some students who like have bigger issues that they want to like deal with. Like I've had students like try to say like, I want to change this in our city. And it's like, okay, if you want to go to that big, like, goal, then have at it. But like your project is then going to look like more broad. But anyway, they could do that throughout the course of the year. And then in May, put it all together.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea. I feel like what's the name of it? Where you have like one day a week that is like for brainstorming that. There's like a special term that people use for it. It's like mastermind hour or something like, what is it called?
I don't know. I haven't heard of it.
You haven't? Oh my gosh. It's something like it's basically an hour every week that is completely devoted to whatever their pet project, their passion project is.
Yep.
And it's completely creative. And it's like you said, like using the skills that they're learning in class, but that it is a specific time set aside each week for them to work on that.
Yeah, that's the only way it'll work.
Exactly. Yeah. For me, when I had English 11 and at the end had them do, because I much prefer project-based learning to any kind of like multiple choice test, not for grading, but for like outcomes and all of that kind of stuff. Because multiple choices
so much easier,
way better to grade. But I would have students if I wasn't looking at the whole semester, because like Katie said, I feel like if you're going to do something that's the whole semester, you will have had to start at the beginning of the semester.
Beginning of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Depending on how far you want to go back with your students. But for me, I would usually focus on the last unit and I would give them a choice board where they had the same like analytical goal for each of them, but they could show it in different ways. So I would have a student, usually it was like a novel study. So they could like create a soundtrack and then they had to explain why each of the songs related to like each of the symbols in the book. Or they could do a like tourism guide and then they had to explain the setting and like major places and why those are major places in the book. And so like it kind of gave them some options to look and allowed them to use like their, creativity and stuff. But that tends to work a little bit better if you have a novel study and if you have kids, with different learning modalities and learning abilities and EL in there. It might be a little bit more challenging to have it with a novel study, but it really depends on the group of kids. So Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I do find that like when you put groups of students together, they have varying levels of like interests and strengths anyway. So even with the different learning modalities, like you can have a student who's less like really like I've had students who are just doing the art, like
yeah.
I'm just gonna sit there
Yeah.
and do the art while the other kids are like typing up like whatever it is that they, have learned or put together, whatever it is. And so they're all
Yeah.
three working or all four working on something different. And I think that those are fun. They also
Yeah.
can go off the rails. So
Yeah.
you need like a
Aggressively so.
really good rubric
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Really good rubric ahead of time before you assign it, which is
Yeah.
a mistake I made plenty of times where I'd be like, I have this great idea. It literally just came to me
Mhm.
5 minutes before. And they're like, how are we going to be graded? And I'm like,
Great question. You know what? It's a mystery that
with
we're all
rigor,
with rigor. It's gonna
with
be
so
a lot
much
of rigor.
rigor. Yeah. A lot of rigor, and it's going to be great. And you guys just need to fully commit to doing the
You
absolute
just
best you
trust
can.
me. Have I ever
Yeah,
let you down?
Just trust me.
Have I ever let you down in this classroom? No? Okay.
Oh, that's the name of this episode, I think. Just trust me. Thank you so much for watching. Want more of Those Who Can't Do in your life? Well, you can watch the full episode right now. Just click on that little box over there. You see it? Right down there? There it is. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Okay, bye.